Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Oneness Junkie podcast, hosted by me, Lydia Smith, a self-proclaimed Oneness Junkie. Oneness Junkie is a place to be inspired, encouraged, and supported. Learn from the individuals who are working to make the world a better place. Let's meet today's guest. Hi, everybody. This is Lydia. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today. It's Chris Carpentier. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Lydia. Thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to share with our audience what you're all about and what you've been up to these last, how many years have you been doing this?
For a long time now. 03, 05, something like that. It's been a
200 lifetimes? Is that what it is?
Yeah, really. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Exactly. Well, we bring all that wisdom with us, don't we? So I usually start off my podcast by sharing with the audience, like how I met you, or if I know you, or if I've worked with you or whatever. And I just want to tell the audience how you came to be on this podcast. Okay. So I have a friend that I was working with, and he had referred me to contact Chris. And when he said his name, Chris Carpentier, I said, I know a Chris Carpentier. And I'm pretty sure it was the same person, but I wasn't 100% sure. Excuse me. So I checked in, and it was the same person that I knew the name, but I never personally met this Chris Carpentier. So how I knew him and his wife. I started back in 1997 going to Unity of Houston, which is a spiritual community. And I was pretty young. I was in my 30s. So whenever you see other 30-year-olds walking around campus, they kind of jump out at you. You're like, oh, wow, there's another youngin'. Yes. And so I recognized him and his wife, but none of the courses or the classes or the, direction. I mean, they were married. I was single. I was really involved in the singles group. They were probably very involved in like the couples. And so our lives just never crossed, but I knew who they were. I knew who y'all were. And I knew that y'all played a very important role in the community, as did I on the level that I was, dealing with, working with the church and the singles group. And so when, it was interesting because when he said your name, I just felt like, okay, it's time to meet Chris. I just felt like it was a good connection. So I reached out, I looked at his website, and I heard he was running at the time, not anymore, but at the time he was running a special for his birthday. And I was like, I'm going to get some work done. It's like a mechanic or something. I'm going to go in and get an overhaul. So we're going to tell you what that means. But that's the way I've been looking at what I've been doing for myself, just getting a tune up, I'm getting tuned up, right? Because I mean, it's been a long journey. I've been on this journey for pretty much about 30 years, really, and since like 1991. And I've learned a lot along the way, going through all kinds of practitioners and stuff. But you know what, folks? That's how it goes. It doesn't always happen in lightning speed, and we're always evolving. So I'm just sharing my journey as I go along with y'all through this podcast. And I'm loving introducing you to the practitioners along the way that are helping me through that journey and helping so many others. So I asked Chris if he would take us back all the way and just bring us up to today about where he's from and what got him to the point of being on the podcast with me today. So take it away, Chris.
All right. Well, thank you, Lydia. First off, I really appreciate that you're doing this. I think it's so important to bring to the world light workers and our story, right? Because we all start out, I think, so differently. My start
Absolutely.
was I grew up in Lewiston, Maine, up in New England, and was just a normal little kid. I loved sports, played in every sport, played baseball and hockey, and was really a standout in soccer. I got to travel the world because of that.
Wow.
I had some really great experiences trying out for the Olympic team. And so I was always very, very, very active, just with sports and traveling all around New England playing hockey. I have a couple of younger brothers, and so family. I have a mom that she was a single mom that raised two boys, and I'll tell you, I learned from her um, everything. So I'm so grateful to her. Now, leaving Maine, I journeyed to Vermont. Started to go to college there. I thought the military life was going to be for me. So I went to a military college over in Vermont. It was one of the most beautiful places in the world. I
I
loved the
bet.
mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vermont was just tremendous. From there, though, the journey really, me and a couple of buddies, we hopped in a Honda Accord. I had a godfather that was over in Deer Park, Texas,
Oh my
and
gosh.
we three of us. Now I'm the smallest of the three. Okay, just let that be known. So, so we piled into this Honda Accord. We headed down. We made a trip of it, just having a blast the whole way. My godfather put us up in Deer Park, the three of us in a 6 by 6 room. That
Oh
was
my
our
God, that's
space.
small. That is small.
Yeah.
I mean, the room I'm in is like 10 by 10, so that's a small room.
It was very, very tiny, no doubt about it. But that's how the journey began here in Texas. And then both of those guys ended up going back to New England. But I stayed. I met my wife here. We had my son, and now I have a daughter. So
Did you
that kind of
actually go in the
began.
military though?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I was in the National Guard. Participated in the military and all that.
That feels like military. Isn't that
Yeah,
military?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was the Army. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I realized though, the military was really cool in the sense that it taught me so much about relationships, leadership, these types of things that I've carried to this day in running my own company. Leadership is so important, and I fall back upon those days of when I went to Norwich, when I was in the military, the great leaders that I had that taught me. I carry a lot of that forward today.
Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about how you had your
Yeah,
child and
yeah,
how'd you
yeah.
get
So
into
I'm
the
here in Texas, and
Uh-huh.
obviously needed a job, right? So I started working in the cable business,
Okay.
and I worked for some of the major companies here in Houston, did contract work, built cable systems, was very, very involved in it. But when I was 29 years old, where my life took a turn was I had a heart attack one day. I was 29. I was very young. I was at a friend's house. I had just gotten off of work. Here in Texas, I mean, we go in attics all day. You're jumping fences. It's very physical.
Right.
So my pain was in my back. Well, as a cable guy, you have back pain daily. Okay,
Right.
it's part of the job, and so I thought that it was just rough day, but it persisted for 3 straight days, and I went to finally see a doctor, and they rushed me off um, to the emergency room, and 9 days later, I had open heart surgery, and when I woke up from the open heart surgery, that's when I knew my life was going to be different. I
Wow.
had I had three mystical experiences happen in the ICU room.
Uh-huh.
At the time, I couldn't. I had to wear glasses. I could not see far. I had a clock that had big numbers, so if I woke up, I had to see what time it is, and um, I could see perfect when I woke up. I remember seeing everything in the room. Even to this day, I could describe every detail. And then I had some other mystical experiences. My grandfather visited me, and he told me everything was going to be okay, which I really needed at that point, because you're 29, you're like, what's
Yeah. Is
going
life
on?
over?
Yeah. And also in the room, there were adults that were a lot older than I was. They were in their 60s, 70s, 80s, some of them in their 90s. And I was just a young kid. I was, not even 30 years old. And here I am in this same environment. But this led me on the journey of healing, because I realized modern medicine is fantastic in certain areas, but in other areas they lack. And when it comes to the spiritual part, or when it comes to
Or
the
like true
totality.
healing, right? True healing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, exactly. And that's what it led me on, is that journey of healing. I went and I started studying. I went all over the world. I went down to Brazil. I mean, I went everywhere where there are healers, where I felt like people were really getting healed. I started studying that, or I'd go down there and I'd see what they were doing. And that kind of led me to what I do today.
Right. So so that kind of brings us up to today. What are you doing today? Tell the audience.
Yeah, so today I have a crystal light table, and it's a tool that I use to help balance energy. And I feel like it's a tool that creates awakening. It creates a portal to truth. And that truth is the healing, your healing, whatever that is, whether it's mental, spiritual, emotional. I really look at everybody, the totality of them. I really do want to hear the story of you, right, Lydia?
Right. Hey, so let's go back to like describe what you think energy is, because think of someone who just falls upon this podcast and they don't even understand what you just said. So let's break it down a
Yeah.
little deeper, because I want you to describe the bed. It's got crystals in
Yeah.
it. What did you do to those crystals? Like that kind of stuff.
So to me, energy is a vibration. We all have a vibration. You have a vibration, I have a vibration, and it's really different. So to me, if like, do you have any pets?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have one or two pets?
I have a 14-year-old dachshund.
Okay. Okay. So if there were two dogs, okay, and your dog Dotson came in the room, and let's say you had your back to the door, and your dog walked in versus the other dog. My feeling is without you even turning around, you would know if that's Dotson or not. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. I do feel very connected to my dog anyway.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that to me is energy, because you're feeling that vibrational energy of that dog. Okay. So my gift is I can feel energy on everybody. And
Right.
so that's how I can understand if there's a block in somebody's energy, or there's something going on in that vibration where they're not singing their life path or their soul's music. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would describe it. So I'm an empath and a highly sensitive person, as well as a energy
Hmm.
reader too, and an intuitive. And I would describe it like like a light in the body. So depending on if you have a lot of blocks or belief systems that are holding you back, maybe having a lot of negativity feelings in your body, then that might be, some like here's an analogy, like hair in the drain. The light is not going to flow if, or the water's not going to flow if there's a lot of clogs in the body, through belief systems and through thought processes. And your emotions is an indicator to kind of where your energy is, your feelings. If you're feeling depressed, that means your light is dimmed, right? And you need to
Absolutely.
you need to find someone who understands what that is and be able to help you clear it. And so it takes
Absolutely.
processes, it takes time, it takes attention, putting your attention on that you want to feel better, and so you
Yeah.
hire people like you to help you move the energy, help you move the blocks. So that's when I was joking earlier saying that I needed a tune up. I could tell that, with the new year coming, I wasn't quite in an emotional or a prepared state that I wanted to be in with my
Mm,
behaviors and maybe my habits that I wanted to change or something. And so I came and had some sessions with you just to help you. I mean, for you to help me, sorry, use the tools that you do have. And we'll talk more about the chakra bed to actually push energy through that I wasn't able to just, even though I have the capacity to do it myself, sometimes you need the assistance because it's like a
absolutely.
laser experience rather than me muddling through it, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Well, and
it's get me
it
there.
shortens the duration.
Exactly. It's going to get me there a lot
Yes,
faster than maybe I can get
absolutely.
myself there by myself. And then the thing is you have to maintain it. Once you leave and you get the tune up, you've got to maintain taking care of the vessel that holds the
Yes.
energy by having boundaries, not letting things come in that is
Hmm.
going to mud it up again, right? Clog it up again, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I always go back. It's about the fundamentals, right? It's about taking care of yourself. It's about loving yourself, and it's about doing all the things that you know to take care of it. Meditation, deep breathing, whether it's getting exercise, eating the correct foods, making sure you're taking in enough water. I think the totality of everything, and then the energy work on top of that, it helps so much when you're doing all the things that you know you need to do to take care of yourself.
It does. And I want to just mention this right now, and we can go into it later, I guess. But one of the things that I've learned, and before we got on the recorded podcast, I was giving Chris my update that when you clear your energy, you're a much more powerful manifester. Things happen a lot quicker. And that's
Yes.
one thing that I want people to understand. There's a lot of people that believe they understand and they believe in the law of attraction, but then they don't understand why they're not manifesting the things that they want. And I'm understanding because I'm doing my own work that when I clear my blocks and my energy and a lot of other things that are out there to clear, you create the space for the source energy to be the thing that fills you up. And then you're more powerful in your manifestations because you're manifesting almost as source, just
Yes.
a lot more like source than Lydia, 2 weeks before
Well, we
the
take
work.
in so much information. I think it's like 2 billion bits of information. Well, what that table does, or what clearing your energy does, is it helps you filter through all that bits of information and focus in on the things that will create the solutions for you.
Right. So tell me, tell the audience, because I know, because I did it. What is this table? What does it look like? And how did you build it? And what does it do? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, the way that I came across the table was through our mutual friend, Gib. He had a friend in Austin that built these tables, and he also taught classes. And I've started going to these classes once a month for like 3 or 4 years. I would travel between here and
That's a long
Austin.
drive. Yeah. What is that, like 2 hours for you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours from my doorstep um, to
Yeah.
Russell's doorstep. And he built a table for me in the very beginning. It was just for me and my family because we wanted to create healing in our family. And we brought that tool into our home. And then it just kind of expanded. People started getting on it. People wanted to experience it themselves. And so it's like a massage table. It's about that same size. It has a light on the end of it, and this light changes colors because of the frequencies. And
they match the chakra colors, right?
they match the chakra colors. Correct.
So you start with the sacrum, the root.
Yeah,
the root
you
chakra.
start with the root, which is red, then it goes to orange, then yellow, then green, then light blue in the throat, and then blue in the third eye, and then purple on top of the head.
Right.
And then I have a white light as well. I run that white light. Sometimes I'll run just the blue light, particularly people that have cases of PTS, like any soldiers. I'm very passionate about helping the military and any soldiers. My father was in Vietnam. He has terrible PTS. And so it led me into studying how light can help calm the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a blue light that I'll run.
Yeah. What does the blue do? What's the blue related to the third eye, or?
Yes, it's related to the third eye. So in the mind, it begins to calm their mind down. It also helps ground their energy. So this is important because you have to think of the electrical impulses that run in the brain. If those don't shut off, if they can't even go to sleep and shut that down, they never have any true rest. The mind just keeps going. So this helps basically create a ground where these thoughts have a channel to get out of them. Okay. So that blue light helps relieve all of this electrical current and all the energy around the brain, and it can go through their body, out and down into the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
So the bed also has the crystals in it, right? Inside of it, underneath, or like under the material or whatever. So tell us about what the crystals do, and like what are some of the crystals in there?
So I use clear quartz crystal. It's a master healer. We have crystals that are specifically cut for our tables from two different lapidary artists. Both of them learned under Dr. Marcel Vogel, who originally started cutting crystals for healing purposes. And these crystals are very, very specific. They're cut. They're absolutely beautiful.
Right. But for the layman who doesn't even know why a crystal is used in healing, tell us, why are people using crystals with healing?
So crystals in healing, crystals are a transceiver. So they are able to transmit energy as well as receive energy. So if they're able to receive and transmit energy, then what we do is we put an intention, your healing, into it. Maybe you want to release blocks. Maybe there's a belief system, or you have an unhealthy attachment or cord to other people, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you also work with cancer patients and stuff, right?
Absolutely.
People who have disorders, people who have IBS, like whatever ailment they have, there's an energetic match that can help to resolve those ailments.
Absolutely, 100%. Some of my greatest teachers, there was a lady that when I first started in this, she had cancer all through her body. And I worked with her for 7 or 8 years, and I saw some miracles happen using crystals, where we would use the crystals on the lumps on her neck that had shown up that morning. When she left, they were gone. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself. It was incredible.
Right.
And so I utilize these crystals. We harness an intention. Maybe that intention is to get rid of that mass of cancer that's shown up, that's manifested. And we use those crystals to focus that energy, that intention into that area. And always with the energy of love, right? That divine energy of love, that intention that there is, all possibilities exist. That means their healing can happen.
Right. Yeah. We were talking earlier about the one story you shared about somebody asking, are your belief system, like, are you healing them, or who's healing the patient? So let's talk about what you feel is your role in this, healing process.
Well, I know my role is really clear. Okay. I'm here to remind people of how powerful they really are, that they are the healer.
I
that they
love
can
that.
heal. And I'm just there to help facilitate that because I'm able to be there for them where I don't have their limitations. I don't have their belief system. My belief is they can heal from anything at any point. And I don't care what stage they're at. And so with that belief, I can focus that intention of healing into, like I said, I've worked with people in hospice and they've gone home. So I know that people can heal at any stage now. My belief is so strong in that area now.
I know. And it's so great because it takes people like you and me who understand the power of this to help those non-believers who are suffering. Hopefully, if they come through your path or
Yeah.
they hear this podcast and they feel like
Yeah.
a resonant energy with the message, then it means maybe it's something to go look into. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
not you, anybody who's an
Anybody.
energy worker,
Yes. Yes.
just like, I
Or
just
just go
want
take
people
a
to know
class on energy.
right. I just want people to
Yeah.
know it's so possible. There's so much
Absolutely.
transformation that's possible, which
And
is why you,
oneness.
right, which is why you have the butterfly as in your logo,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes, I totally
Yes.
believe in, if you're a caterpillar and you have a caterpillar's mindset, you're creating a caterpillar experience, but you believe your potential is to be healed and a butterfly. You sometimes you need people to help you transform your mindset first so that your body can match what your mind is thinking. So if you're stuck as a
Exactly.
caterpillar, you'll continue to be the caterpillar experience. But if you
Absolutely.
believe that you're meant to be the butterfly,
Yes.
then, but if you say, oh, well, I can't see myself being a butterfly because what is real in reality in front of me is so devastating, then find a believer, a practitioner who can help you believe in the possibility because we
Yeah.
do. We believe in your possibility for transformation.
I
So,
think that was the key to my transformation, to be honest with you. In the very beginning, when I was a cable guy and I was giving all that up and didn't know what direction I was going to go into, I I would I looked at I had all these goals and dreams written down and I had them on these notebooks. And one day I just went back and I started reading what's the top 10 in all these notebooks. And what I realized without even knowing, in the top 10 of every goal and dream, I had written to be a minister. And I was shocked when I saw that because I was like, really? I want to be a minister? But I had written it in those top 10. So
wow.
what I did is I sat down every day and every morning I would start my morning by essentially putting the coat on of what a minister would do. So I would just say, well, what does a minister do? What does he eat for breakfast? How does he exercise? What thoughts does he have? What books does he read? How does he, read the Bible and all this kind of stuff? And I would just do it like what I thought a minister would do.
You were faking
And
it till you made it.
I faked it till I made it. And truthfully, I did. I just each day and then
You just became the minister. You became what you thought that represented.
absolutely. And it was funny because people would they started even recognizing me as a minister before I was even a minister. It was crazy.
That's neat. Did
It
you?
was,
So are you telling me you went to go become a minister?
yeah, at one point. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't. I
That
hadn't
was the
learned that
career
part of your
path I
journey.
thought.
Oh,
I thought that was my career path. Like I really wanted to, I thought I would get up in front of a pulpit and all that kind of stuff. And I did it a few times, but I realized real quick, I'm like, nah, this is fun. This is great because you get to really, it was another form of coaching for me. I loved coaching. I coached little kids soccer and It reminded me so much of that in a way, because it was like getting up in front of these kids and teaching them the
Yeah, you wanted to
fundamentals.
inspire people, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was this before Unity or during Unity?
During.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
that's funny.
I coached the little kids, my son at his school. I had a dear friend, Mike, that we coached these little kids from when they were literally in kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, you're all lit up just talking about that.
Oh, I loved it.
I can tell
Yeah.
that it was a fantastic experience for
Well, and
you.
I was able to apply so many principles I had learned
Well, and think of the
into.
impact you had on these young folks, these young kids.
Well, I still see them to this day. These kids, they were such a close knit group. The parents were very close knit. They were some of the best parents. I mean, I had heard some coaching nightmare stories. Mine are nothing like that. I had the best parents. They were so supportive. And other coaches that I coached with, they were just phenomenal. So we all worked so well as a team, and that created a lot of success where there hadn't been success before, because the teams that we coached, no big deal, but we did win some championships.
Just thought you'd throw that one in.
Just
Well,
thought
is
I'd
there
throw it in.
anything about what you do? Can you give us a little bit of, I mean, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark, and I know you wanted to keep it tight, but can you tell us a little bit about the experience on the bed past the lights and the
Yeah,
chakras? You have bowls in there.
I
So
do.
what do
I have
you
sound
talk to
bowls.
us about the sound bowls? And
Yeah.
then that way people can kind of have an understanding of when they come for a chakra bed
Yes.
experience, what are they going to do? What's going to happen?
So the other thing they can do is they can go to my website, transcendwellnessnow.com, and it has a picture of the table on there, and you can see how the setup of it is. But I
Uh-huh.
have 7 sound bowls. I have lights, crystals. I also use magnetic therapy. So we use a combination of all these different healing technologies, and you get that full experience in every session. So basically, I'm going to get you very comfortable. We're going to get you lying on the table. We're going to set your intentions with the crystals. I'll infuse those intentions. We put the crystals over your head. That light turns on. It just lights up the whole room. It's like a light show. And then
Uh-huh.
I play the bowls as the light changes colors. I
You
move through the
create
bowls.
sound with the bowls. Now, did the bowls have
Yes,
different tones?
they do.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're for
So
like the
they're all
root
tuned.
chakra.
They're all tuned to 432 megahertz, which that's the perfect frequency for the human body. And then each bowl has a different note, and each note is different for each chakra. So
Yeah.
there's 7 different notes.
I love that because the vibration from the bowls in the small treatment room creates a literal vibration in your body. And so I
Oh,
really
yes.
felt like it was like really moving energy. You know, sometimes you can
Yes.
just like, oh, I'm going to imagine I'm moving energy. No, this one feels like energy's moving
Yeah.
through your body through a push vibration, right?
I've had hundreds and hundreds of clients now get on this table, and the feedback, I am always in awe of the divine, because there have been some people that have had the Disney experience on this table. I've seen and heard people where literally they've come out of their body and they're looking at their body sleeping.
Right.
And you know, the revelations that have come through this have just been, like I said, I'm always in awe of what
Yeah.
happens.
It's neat to be the practitioner who gets to bring people to all of these great experiences through the work that you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm extremely humble. I feel like the divine has just put me in this space where I can do this for others, and I'm just grateful every day. It really doesn't feel like working. I've lived an incredible life, my family, everything. It's just incredible.
Yeah, well, that's a reflection of you and the work that you're doing, you know, your life and your experiences and your relationships at the deeper
100%.
level. So I'm just going to mention this because I'm curious if anybody is feeling this. We didn't talk about this, but I just want to mention that right now in the environment, between 2020 and 2022, there's just a lot of fear around, the coronavirus and COVID-19, and the world is in a conversation of fear. I do believe that moving energy can calm the spirit and the body and the anxiety that actually exists around what the world is talking about. So if anybody's out there who has a lot of fear around this and they just want to calm their nervous system, I highly recommend that they do a chakra bed treatment. Now that I've had an experience with it, I understand what it does for me, what it did for me and what it can do for others. And really, I had purchased 2 and you only put me on 1 time. So was there something related to like I was coming back too quickly and you didn't want to put me on the bed again because it was back to back?
Divine guidance.
Okay.
I always ask for divine guidance. And everybody is different.
Right.
Everybody processes energy differently.
Right.
And yes, there are times when I don't recommend getting on it back
too
to back
quickly.
like
Yeah, too quick. Because it was like 4, I think I was like 4 days apart or 5 days apart or something.
Yeah, it wasn't very many. And the other thing that can happen is once you start moving the energy, if you do another energy session, it can stop the movement of that energy.
Right.
And then you have to go back and start over again.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yes, no,
thank you for not stopping my energy.
No,
because,
I don't want to do that.
Well, let's see. I think, I saw you before Christmas. I think it was, it was Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's when I came.
It was
Christmas Eve. And then I came back like Tuesday, I think after Christmas. So that was just like a 4-day, window. But I just remember that, what I wanted to tell you is that I had a really big shift, like 7 days after doing the bed, the chakra bed. And, I attribute some of the work that I did with you. I mean, I've done a lot of work even recently that it all culminates, to the head of everything. So I just think it's a support and it's one more step closer to becoming who and what you really want to be. And in my case, I want to be full on butterflydia.
There you go. I love it.
So anyway,
well, you are on your way, my friend.
I am. Well, actually, I've realized I am already the butterfly. So, and in fact, I've always been the butterfly. I just didn't know it. Right? We are the butterfly. We just think we're caterpillars.
Yes.
The truth is, we come up. You're helping us get to our own awakening of ourselves. Right? That's what I'm referring to.
Well, I love what Marianne Williamson said about this. And I don't know the whole quote, but the gist of it is essentially that we're more afraid of the magnificence, right, than in playing small, if you will.
Right. Plus, we think the world can't handle us understanding our own magnificence. And, what I've come to understand is that I lived long enough, as the caterpillar trying to become the butterfly. And now that I have gotten to the place where I understand that I've always been the butterfly, I'm not being shy about letting others understand my journey so that they can have the journey to their higher self as well. And that's the only reason I want to be public about it, is because I want to be helpful. And I want to be a servant and I want to be a bridge to help others come to realize they can have it too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that's the purpose of all this, actually. So, okay. So go ahead and is there anything that you want to share, any kind of words of wisdom or inspiration or any kind of information that you'd like to share in our wrap up?
Well, I think we covered a lot of great things.
We did.
And when it comes to words of wisdom, I'm not sure I'm the guy.
It's okay. I think this is
what I will say, though, is that I just bless everybody. I love your message of oneness. We've been involved with oneness for so long. And, that to me has always been such a powerful path. And so I just honor you in creating this, so that others can see, and we can create more conversation around just spirituality in general. I think it's so important, because I see that truly as the healer of our planet, these times, everything, where people can get themselves expressing their path and their purpose. And to me, if people are expressing their path and their purpose, there's so much joy. And
Yeah.
people aren't worrying about anything else. They're not worrying about work or money or any of these things, because they're following that bliss inside them.
And I'll add their light, when they're expressing their light, that
Totally.
is going to light up the world as well.
Yes.
Well, before we go, will you just, for purposes of this particular episode, will you just describe what you believe oneness to be from all of the teachings and stuff? What does that mean to you? Because a lot of people don't even know why I call this why I call one of my podcasts Oneness Junkie. I have another podcast called Avanti Wellness, and you'll probably hear this episode on both of them. But what is oneness for those who don't even understand what oneness is?
To me, it creates awareness and an awakening. That's been the by far the biggest benefit in all of oneness.
Yeah.
Is it creates so much awareness around me getting to know me.
Yeah. And our connection to source as well, right?
Yeah. And what does that connection look like for me? Right? Because in religion, or, these traditions, if you will, it looks a certain way. And if that doesn't really resonate with you, then, what are you supposed to do? So to me, oneness gave me that avenue of being able to create the relationship that I really desired with my divine, and whatever that looks like. And that's the other part of it. I love the work that I do because I get to experience everybody's different view of that. And I honor every one of them. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. And I know Spirit brings you the right people at the right time.
Every time.
Yeah. It's so divinely connected. It's amazing. So how do people find you? If people want to find you, they want to connect with you, tell us, what is your website again?
So my website is transcendwellnessnow.com, and they can look there. You can also look me up. My name, Chris-Carpentier. That's Carpentier. And that also pulls up my website.
Okay.
And you can
and then I do know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was
just going to say, you can book on there. I teach different classes. So all the listing of classes are on there. We also do awakening processes here as well. So we do quite a bit, me and my family. My son's involved. My wife's involved. It's a lot of fun. I get to work with them.
Yeah. And I do want to mention, because this is a global podcast, that you don't have to be in Houston, Texas to work with you. You can do your healing work through Zoom. So anywhere, absolutely, as long as y'all align on a proper time zone, together at the same time, you can do healing work with Chris through Zoom. So that's important to mention. So one of the things that I like
thank you. My wife always tells me that too.
No, it's okay. I got it, because that's my job. That's what I do. But for 35 years I've been marketing people, so I understand. Anyway, I was going to tell you that one other thing I was going to mention is that you're not on social media a lot, although you have all the social media pages, but you do have like a Facebook page for your business, Transcend Wellness, but it's called something else, isn't it? It's something about the crystal.
Yes. Well, we're going through a name change. So it was Houston Crystal Light Table Wellness Center was the original name.
That's what I saw.
And now we're transferring,
turning it over to the new Transcend Wellness. Yeah, I love your name.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up, but one thing I like to do for my guest is be a mirror. And I call it, I made it up. It's called Mirror Reflections. And I like to, you just receive, you don't have to say anything. And I'm just going to mirror reflect back to you who you are in the world, that for us who see you and have encounters with you. So, fortunately, most everyone that is on the podcast, I say this particular thing, which is you are a light in the world, and your light, Chris, is shining so bright.
Oh, thank you.
It is. And I'm in awe of the healer that you've become and through your journey. And I'm grateful that the one thing I do know for myself is that as my vibration changes and grows and shifts, I encounter higher level individuals. And I feel like, 20 years ago when I knew your name, maybe I wasn't at the vibrational level.
I think it was more me, Lydia, not you.
At the vibrational level, but here we've come. We're on a vibrational.
Hey, we came together. That's what happened.
Through different vibrational.
Had we met back then, there might have been who knows what,
different generational. Journey. Efforts got us there in different paths. But anyway, I'm so grateful to know you. I'm so lucky to have you in my city. So anytime I want to go hop on a chakra table, I can book an appointment on your website. And if I move, I can still work with you through Zoom.
No doubt about it.
Yes, but you're just such a gift to the world. I see you and I recognize you. And I know what you're here for. And I wanted to share that with the world and my audience so that they too could have access to the type of joy that I'm experiencing from doing the work and clearing my energy. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you are in our community and in the world. And like I tell others, keep on keeping on because we need you.
I know that's right. We need you too.
Yeah, the world needs us, right? The world needs us, and
more of us. Truthfully,
absolutely. And there's plenty of space for more healers and more practitioners to come through the ranks. There's a lot of people out there who are suffering, and there's a lot less of us to help them transcend out of their suffering. So
that's the other thing. For the last 4 or 5 years, that's been a passion as well, is teaching other light workers and helping them out and supporting them. It's been a big part of what we do.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm sure all that information's on your website, right?
It is.
So perfect. So thank you so much for being with me today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I really am so grateful for you. Thanks so much. And we'll have to do this again another time.
Yeah. I was thinking of other topics. I could just come have you back for just an episode about, crystals. I was like talking about crystals all day long.
We didn't even get to my little beauties back here.
I know. We'll save those for the next episode. So will you come back and join me one day?
Of course. I'd love to.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. Will you hang on, and I will thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye. We've reached the end of this episode. If you'd like to continue with this inspirational journey, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. If you are a self-proclaimed oneness junkie, get yourself a t-shirt and spread the message of oneness in your community. And finally, if you have a story to share or know someone that should be a guest on this podcast, contact us at onenessjunkie.com. See you next time. And remember, when we heal ourselves, we heal the world. Compassion starts with you and me.